Going to enjoy the ride and worry about what to do with Drew once the ride is over.
The Patriots entered the game ranked 24th in the NFL in offense. If you think the Saints defense looked bad on live television, go back and watch the tape. Let's go inside the game.
The Saints' aggressive style of defense was countered by outstanding New England play calling. Tom Brady bootlegs right and then throws back left on the screen to Antoine Smith. The play is executed so well, number 77 guard Mike Compton has no Saint to block and simply strolls into the end zone with Smith to complete a 41-yard play. The next time the Patriots try the screen, number 97, Leroy Glover, makes sure running back Kevin Falk can't catch the ball. Glover tackles him. The Saints D-line got pounded, too, by right guard Joe Andruzzi. He handles number 92, Martin Chase. Antoine Smith gains 11. And then Andruzzi on the combo or scoop block. He doubles Norman Hand and then blocks Charlie Clemens. Gain of 12. Saints DBs were no match for New England receivers. Here the Saints are rushing 3. The Patriots are max protecting with 7. So that's 3 receivers in the pattern against 8 defensive backs. And Tom Brady still throws a 24-yard touchdown pass to Charles Johnson. The Patriots had a great plan in the red zone. First, they get Fred Thomas sucked up in play action. Touchdown to Troy Brown. Watch fullback Mark Edwards fakes a block, gets out of the pile, and catches a 2-yard touchdown pass. And then there were the coverage breakdowns. Who has David Patton here? No one. Gain of 27. It was the Saints' worst defensive effort of the Haslett era. And as they say in football, it is a team game.
You wouldn't have known it Sunday, but Fred Thomas is having a solid season. Now, how 22 is reborn in black and gold.
Plus, where Kevin Hauser gets his kicks away from the field.
And later, why the Saints were not ready to play. Straight shooting from the coach, one-on-one with Jim Haslett ahead on Inside Saints.
Here's the inside scoop on Saints long snapper Kevin Hauser. When he's not on the field, his heart is on the water.
Love to boat. Love to be on the water.
Hauser and his wife own a Sea Ray, and he says they take the boat out on Lake Pontchartrain as much as possible.
My wife and I grew up on boats, and so it was, when the opportunity presented itself, we jumped on it and absolutely loved it.
Kevin Hauser is also one of the most active Saints in the community. Every week, he gives his free time to a variety of local charities. The inside scoop on players' lives, every week on Inside Saints.
Fred Thomas spent 3 seasons in Seattle, then 1 in Pittsburgh on injured reserve before signing with the Saints last year. Injuries limited him, but he still finished with career highs in tackles with 89 and passes defended with 13. Tonight, the confident cornerback tells us how he keeps beating the odds as we go inside the helmet. Fred Thomas has faced some of the NFL's biggest and best receivers all season. For the most part, so far so good. When asked how he described his style of play, he says, in a word, aggressive.
All my life and in my whole career, I had a lot of critics saying I'm too small, I'm not aggressive enough, and I don't finish plays. That's what I go out there and do every Sunday, try to prove those guys wrong.
Coach Haslett has said Thomas is playing as well as any cornerback in the league. High praise for a guy who switched to DB once he got to college. Just think, when he was a kid, his favorite player was running back Billy Sims on his favorite team, the Detroit Lions.
I never played any defense all through high school. I was a quarterback, running back / receiver.
He wasn't highly recruited because most coaches thought he was too small.
I just remember playing in the same high school all-star game with Steve McNair and a lot of other guys, and returning an open kickoff 105 yards.
Then one of the coaches gave him a note that said, "You can play with the big boys." From there, he signed with Northwest Community College, played at Ole Miss before finishing his college career at Tennessee Martin. Now the Bruce, Mississippi native is playing in his 6th NFL season. It seems he's made the adjustment to defense without a hitch.
I love it because I happen to be one of the people that deliver the pain instead of the one taking it. Sometimes I do take a little shot from off, pulling tackles and stuff like that. and everything, but it's not as bad as me being out there delivering it.
When asked how long he wants to play in the NFL, Thomas says as long as his body lets him.
I love to compete. I love to compete, and I love being around the guys that I work with every day. That's something that I can never replace. Once it's over, I can never replace being around the guys and enjoying the camaraderie and competing every Sunday.
That's too bad. The last game we know is the game that the whole defense played bad with yesterday. But Fred Thomas is prior to yesterday, having an incredible season, and it's really been a good addition to the secondary.
And a guy like a lot of people who have been released in this league, playing with a chip on his shoulder, but in a good way.
Yeah. Next, is it too late to fix the defense? Harry McCullough gets the answer one-on-one with Coach Haslett.
Plus, we'll take one more look at a pair of spectacular catches. That's ahead on Inside Saints.
Nearly 24 Saints showed their holiday spirit at the Dryads YMCA this week, including quarterback Aaron Brooks. The reason? To provide Thanksgiving meals to the needy. Among the players helping out, Joe Johnson, Albert Connell, and Lou Williams, plus Leroy Glover, Darren Smith, Kevin Mathis, Jay Bellamy, and a lot more. It is the 6th year the Saints have done this. Players handed out more than 800 baskets, complete with turkey, cranberry sauce, and all the trimmings for a home-cooked holiday meal. And that's a look inside the heart of the New Orleans Saints.
Now, Chrysler presents One-on-One with Coach Jim Haslett. Here's ABC 26's Harry McCullough.
You know, guys, there are two types of motivation. One is positive reinforcement. The other is fear. And, you know, Jim Haslett's been staying positive with most of his players and coaches this year. But after yesterday's post-game comments where he said there might be changes if necessary, it seems like now he may be going to the latter.
I didn't mean to be threatening to anybody. I just think that there's got to be alternatives. There's got to be reasons why this is happening. And we're basically the same football team as we were last year, but we're not playing at the level we were playing last year. Either guys got to step up and play better, or we need to find a reason, to have someone else play, or the scheme, or the coaching staff has to do a better job. There's got to be a reason behind it.
Mm-hmm. And with that said, there's a term in golf. It's called writing checks. A guy will be coming in with a lead at the end, and he'll tank, and it's called writing checks and giving away money. With that said, you guys, I guess, are in that position now. You don't want to be writing checks at the end of the season. There's a lot of money to be made for these players, the coaches. Assistant coaches might get head jobs, and GMs that might be looking for new contracts. There's a lot of money to be made if you guys really focus at the end. Do you ever use that as a motivating factor, like, hey, guys, don't write checks?
I don't like to use money as a motivating factor. I think there's reasons why you're out there. You're either playing for pride, there's always a purpose. I mean, some guys play for money, but I think the good players play because they love the game and they want to do well. And I want players out there that they're going to perform and they're going to play. If they don't want to be a part of winning, then we'll get somebody else out there that's going to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Talk about great players who play for pride. What about Willie, and what's the latest on him?
Well, Willie's going to have surgery tomorrow on his meniscus. If they see anything else, they'll do more surgery, and we're hoping for the best, but I don't know. We'll have to wait until the surgery's completed.
Mm-hmm. Since he got here, Kyle Turley, a lot of people were talking he might eventually end up on the left side. Is that something you can do at midseason, is switch him over to the other side, or is that too much?
I mean, we've talked about it. I don't know if that's a possibility. He hasn't played in the left side since college, and which is 3 years, and I don't know if we want to make that move right now. We're going to discuss that later on, but I mean, that's always a possibility. But then you would have to switch two guys for one position, and I don't know if that's smart.
Mm-hmm. Your team, your defense, I know you were disappointed in the way they played yesterday. I know you guys really studied Rams and really were focused on the Rams. Could it be that maybe you guys are just better built for four wides, teams like the Colts, the Rams, the Vikings, guys you've had success against, and then your Giants, Jets, and then Patriots kind of gave you trouble. Maybe the two tights are giving you trouble.
Well, I don't know if we're built for a certain type of offense. We didn't play well in all aspects of the game. We didn't tackle well. We didn't communicate calls well. The secondary probably played as bad as this played since I've been here, and usually they're the group that you always know that it's going to play at a high level, and which is disappointing. And I don't know if we're meant to play the speed guys or the forward guys, but I just know that when we're playing teams like New England or Denver last year, Oakland, teams like that we have to do a better job of communicating, tackling, and getting to the football.
And still a lot of season left to play. Still a lot of bone, a lot of meat left on the bone to play.
Well, yeah, the disappointing thing is you lost 3 out of your last 4. I mean, you can take stats and turn them any way you want to, but we need to win a game, and on defense we need to make a stop and a series. We need to start off the game better than we've started lately. But I think our guys are going to want to be good, and they're going to improve, and we're going to work our butts off this week in practice and to make ourselves better. I think we control our own destiny. We dug ourselves a hole. Anybody can make it. Anybody can fall apart. You see how Washington starts off 0-5. They're 5-5 right now, and I think you just got to get some confidence building. And we got to do a better job and win 1 or 2, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think the key might be that they need to start playing like Ed talked about with Fred Thomas, like they have a chip on their shoulder again. I know a lot of these guys were cut. Last year they really had a lot to prove. This year they're playing like they're Pro Bowlers or something. And when's the last time we seen Kyle Turley go downfield and take somebody out? I mean, let's get that guy rolling again.
Well, I think the key is, Harry, is the defense has got to be there. I mean, offensively you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. But if you want to be a championship team, if you want to be a playoff team, you got to play some defense. Look at Atlanta. They won. Now, granted, they played Carolina yesterday. They won with Bob Christian running the ball. They're just playing field position and playing defense.
Saints are getting blown off the ball in the trenches on both sides. Defensively, that defensive front, which we've talked a lot about, just has not played to the level they need to play. And that's where it starts. They're not getting any pressure up front.
And all those guys making more money than Harry. Maybe we ought to get him in the trenches and let him go at it a little bit. Huh, Harry?
I agree with that.
You'll go for a game
you can
check.
Raise my salary. That's right.
We'll get you in the trenches. Not to be forgotten in the loss, 2 Saints receivers turned in spectacular individual efforts.
First quarter, the Saints backed up to their own 3-yard line. Aaron Brooks comes out gunning with Ty Law riding his back. Joe Horn makes the catch.
Flag on the play. Horn comes up with a football. What a catch by Joe Horn.
The Saints declined the pass interference penalty on Law. The play went for a 50-yard gain. Then in the third quarter, down 20-0 and needing a spark, Brooks goes deep to Albert Connell.
Caught a great catch on the play by Albert Connell.
Connell pulls the ball off the helmet of East Jefferson High School's Otis Smith. It goes for a 38-yard gain. Just to show you how Sunday's game went for the Saints, Horn's catch led to a blocked field goal. Connell's led to an interception. 2 great plays that ultimately meant nothing.
And Albert Connell.
Good news ahead. The Panthers are heading to town. We'll preview Game 2 with Carolina when Inside Saints continues.
Last year, Minnesota and the New York Giants played for the NFC Championship. If the season ended today, neither would make the playoffs. Instead, 2 surprising teams from the NFC West would get in, the 49ers and the Falcons. And both teams won again Sunday, as we see inside the West. The Falcons won their 3rd in a row with defense. Second quarter, a goal line stand. Keith Brookins stops Carolina's Richard Huntley on 4th and goal. Atlanta got just enough offense. Bob Christian scores. The Falcons ran for 145 yards and didn't turn the ball over. And the defense made it hold up. Last chance for Chris Winkie and the Panthers, but he's picked off by John Del Carty. Atlanta wins 10-7. Huge day for Garrison Hurst of the 49ers as they ran over Jim Mora's Colts. Hurst, 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the story of this game, interceptions. Peyton Manning was picked off 4 times. This one by Zach Bronson. Bronson takes it back for a score. San Francisco won at 40-21. After the game, vintage Jim Mora.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
And the Rams play tonight against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, you can see Monday Night Football at 8 o'clock right here on ABC 26. The Rams need a win to stay a game up on the Niners, adding up the records in the NFC West. It's the best division in football. If the season ended today, the division winners would be the Rams, the Bears, and the Eagles. The wild cards, San Francisco, Green Bay, and Atlanta. 6 other teams are also alive with 6 losses or less, including the Saints.
The Saints need a lift Sunday, and the Carolina Panthers bring a 10-game losing streak to the Superdome. The Saints beat the Panthers 6 weeks ago in a nail-biter. It looked like a blowout early. Aaron Brooks and Cam Cleveland hooking up twice. The Saints went up 17-0, but Carolina chipped away in the second half. Then, with less than 2 minutes to go, Steve Smith took off on this 70-yard punt return. Carolina went ahead 25-20, but Aaron Brooks then led the Saints on an 82-yard drive in the final minute 48. Willie Jackson played a big role as the Saints drove to the Panther 1-yard line. And on the game's last play, Ricky Williams ran it in. The Saints won 27-25. In Carolina's last 7 losses, 5 have come by 3 or less, 2 going to overtime. Time now for our favorite part of the show, and with a good conscience, Harry, you cannot pick the Carolina Panthers to end a 10-game winning streak this week.
No, in fact, we switched chairs, me and Coach Haslett, so yeah, I can just pick anybody I want. They need to lay the wood to this team. They need to get them early, too. They don't want to get this team thinking that they can have a chance to win. So if they can get to them early, get them out of the game early, the Saints ought to lay the wood to the Panthers.
Harry likes Carolina?
I like
I mean, Harry likes the Saints, you like the Saints, and I like the Saints. I don't want to speak for Harry. For all of us here at ABC 26, thanks for watching Inside Saints.
Is it better to be lucky than good? Maybe not on this play. The Saints need another final drive to pull past the Panthers, plus how the West was won. The Tigers are headed to Atlanta. 4th down on 4 starts now.
4th down on 4.
Someone please tell the Carolina Panthers that a 1-10 team isn't supposed to be that tough. Welcome to 4th down on 4. I'm Juan Kincaid. 2 games resulting in 2 comeback victories against the Panthers. Not exactly how the Saints coaches drew it up on the board, but of course they'll take it. This was the game where the Saints were very unlucky early on and made their own luck when they had to. Lee Zurich has our game recap.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Hey, it's time right now. Nice time right now, baby. Hey, simple as that. I'm saying hit him, y'all. Say hard now. Hit him hard. Hit him hard. 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 Gave up on the old Saints. That's all right. We believe.
Yes, the Saints are still alive, still in the hunt for an NFC playoff spot. This Aaron Brooks touchdown pass to Joe Horn late in the 4th quarter gives the Saints the victory over Carolina, win number 6 of the year for Jim Haslett's club.
We need to channel efforts on one game at a time, and I thought we did a good job in practice this week. And you see games come down to the wire with us for whatever reason, and we can't look ahead. Now it was nice to get a win. I think the most important thing, we can't worry about what other people are doing. We just got to take care of ourselves.
We won, and that's what we needed to do. We won, and we're on towards Atlanta right now, and that's what our focus is. Was it ugly? Yes, but we got the win, and that's what matters, and that's what counts in the NFL.
Joe Horn definitely the star of this game. His 13 catches ties a career high, and Horn could have had one more reception, but this pass broken up by an official. Back judge Phil Luckett gets in Horn's way midway through the 1st quarter to prevent a Saints touchdown.
I thought it was another DB or something. But actually, after I saw the referee, I thought he was going to throw a flag before he even hit me because the guy held me. But I don't know. Maybe he was going to throw the flag. But when I ran into him, he got discombobulated and fell on the ground. I was like, he said he's sorry. I was like, man, look, that's a part of the game. That's the NFL. That'll be on bloops and blunders. At least I know I have a play on bloops and blunders, right?
It's a shame that, that happened. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But the thing that bothered me about that play was, they got beaten. A guy grabbed Joe about the 20-yard line, held on to the back of him, and nobody saw it more than, him running to Phil. I think Phil's just got snake bitten.
If you look at the statistics, the Saints totally dominated this game. They had 14 more first downs, 292 more total yards than the Panthers, but too many Saints mistakes kept this one close until the end. Here's one example. Late first quarter, Aaron Brooks finds Willie Jackson for a 60-yard score, but a holding penalty on Terrell Smith negates the touchdown.
We can't beat anybody else until we start beating ourselves, and you know we got lucky today and pulled it out in the end. But you know, for the turnovers that we had, I mean, we had a botched fumble that cost us 30 yards, and against a good team, you just can't do those things.
Regardless whether the officials, ourselves, or the opponent, we have to play mistake-free football in order to get those type of victories. But like I said, the good thing about it is we won the game.
Sad part is that they really couldn't stop us on offense, and they couldn't move the ball on our defense. We just kind of made mistakes and gave them a chance to stay in the game.
Ricky Williams' 102 yards rushing puts him over 1,000 yards for the season. Ricky's biggest play on the Saints' game-winning drive, his 42-yard reception puts the Saints in position to win the game. And the Saints did that, thinking touchdown instead of tie.
We don't want to play overtime. We want to go in and win the game. That's what we're out there for, the 60 minutes to do that. And, in that situation, a field goal would be inexcusable. We had opportunities to put them away, and we didn't do that. So we felt that going down and just winning the game and coming off the field with smiles on our faces was the thing to do.
It was a win, and we're happy about it, and we're excited about it. And, we're going to try to build on this, but we know we still have to get better. I mean, we can't allow people to get back into the game like we're doing. And, but right now we're just happy with the W. So, I mean, we're not going to complain with it.
At the Superdome, I'm Lee Zurich, 4th down on 4.
It feels good to talk about these numbers. Brooks threw for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns. His only blemish, 1 interception on a ball Haslett says should not have been thrown. With 102 yards rushing, Ricky Williams went over the 1,000-yard mark for the season. Second straight season he's done that. And another strong day for Joe Horn, 13 receptions, 150 yards, 1 score. Ricky and Boo Williams also added a combined 8 catches for 141 yards. Despite the close scoreline, it was a great day offensively, but perhaps an even better day on the other side of the ball. Saints linebacker Charlie Clemens, our guest, here on 4th down. Once again, we've had him before. Thanks for being with us again.
Well, thank you, Juan.
I know Norman Hand said you guys kind of simplified things this week on defense, and that's what the difference was in this game. And this team turning around defensively on that front 4, maybe the front 7.
That's what the whole topic was this week, just to get back to the basics, simplify things, and do what got us here from the beginning. That's rushing the quarterback and putting pressure on the offense.
This is a wacky NFL season. We're seeing 1 in 10 teams giving teams like the Saints fits and other teams that aren't playing well this year. When you go into a game against the Panthers, I know you don't want to overlook any team and take for granted, yeah, we have the better record, but did you expect to win by more? If things had gone your way, do you win by more in this game?
Well, just really, our team is a blue-collar team, and we're going to play 4 quarters, and I think that all our games going to be close. We're not going to blow anybody out. We're not the Rams. We're not this greatest show on earth. We're going to go out there and we're going to bite and scratch, for 4 quarters, and, the outcome, let it be. But I think, today we displayed, what epitomizes our defense is rushing the quarterback and putting pressure on the offense.
Of course, the bad news about the game in the beginning, the Saints looked great from the start. The offense got off to a nice start. Joe Horn down the middle. Talk about that play. I know you said you saw that from the sideline. He's beating everyone. He gets held a little bit, and only the referee, the back judge, to beat him.
Yeah, I've always been taught that, you have to play above the officials. but to physically beat official is a little different, man. That's kind of wild. I don't know what the NFL can do to kind of get a rule where, the offense get another down, or, the ball marked different or something. I think, we need to come up with something when you have a play like that, because they could have easily, determined the outcome of that game.
Haslett said he was maybe more disappointed that the flag wasn't thrown on the pass interference call that obviously should have been called, because Joe Horn was held, if not, getting the touchdown catch there.
One of the two, it's just like you say, he was in bad position, and, to even make a call, I don't think he was in position to make a call.
Offense back in sync this week for you guys. I know the last couple weeks the defense has been playing some heavy minutes. The offense turns it on this week, actually moves the ball, gives you guys a bit of rest. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a plus, you know, with guys, you know, giving it their all on every play, rushing and scratching and biting, you know, and clawing their way through games like that. And I think the offense can help us by, you know, moving the ball, taking some of those minutes off the clock, and allowing us to refresh ourselves on the sideline.
And it helped this week.
It helps a lot.
Yeah, it sure did. Saints linebacker Charlie Clemens, our guest here on 4th Down. More with him in just a few minutes. Still ahead, Tennessee upended LSU in their first meeting. Can the Tigers return the favor when it counts the most? We'll talk SEC championship in just a bit. But on the other side of this break, much more on the Saints and their defense just pinning its ears back and going after Chris Winke. At times, the former Heisman Trophy winner didn't know what hit him. We'll be back. Welcome back to 4th Down. The Saints players are counting down the number of days left in the regular season, 36 as of today. Just over 5 weeks to make their mark and make their move up the playoff ladder. And many on this team believe things have to start on the defensive side of the ball. Against the Panthers today, that defense put its best feet forward.
We know Carolina want to run, so we make them throw the ball, then it's to our advantage.
For the first time in what seems like a very long time, Norman Hand and the rest of his frontline mates practiced what they preached, playing defense from front to back, but especially with the front four, once considered the heart and soul of this team, showed plenty of heart today.
Well, it's the way that everybody's supposed to play. Secondary, linebackers, we all did a great job today, and the thing is we're still giving up too many points in the red zone, so you know, we're going to work hard this week.
Earlier in the week, the Saints said their goal was to make Carolina a one-dimensional football team. They did that today, allowing the Panthers just 49 yards on the ground.
This is the first game we came out and you know, we got up a little bit. We got a kind of a lead, and we kind of turned it loose. And we stressed all week with the defensive line that they got to come off the ball, run in, pass, and get some penetration. And I thought they did a great job today.
The numbers don't lie. They took away the run and limited what the Panthers could do through the air, giving up just 161 yards. And Winke couldn't keep himself off the ground. The Saints sacked him 8 times, 5 of them coming from those frontline players.
That's pretty much the key with any offense that we face. What you want to go in the game and do is pretty much shut the run down and force them into a passing situation, which plays to our strength.
Those guys, the front seven, they played well. I mean, they gave us the opportunity to cover those guys well, and we gave them opportunities to get sacked, you know, with what we was doing. So my hat goes off to those guys. They played hard and they played well.
Now it's time to look ahead. Norman Hand says this type of defensive effort is a must-have in Atlanta next weekend.
We can't get caught up in, well, we need to split for the end of this month. We just got to take one game at a time and go out there and play.
We took a step forward, but for us, it's important for us not to get complacent and learn from our mistakes early in the season and come out the next 5 games and play like we know we can play.
Back inside with Saints linebacker Charlie Clemens. Charlie, 8 sacks for this defense. It's been a long time since we had a performance like that. Maybe go back to Buffalo. But 8 sacks, everything old school today, and you guys get into Chris Winke.
Exactly. You know, you can ask 11 guys on our defense, and they would say we hadn't lost confidence. But the last few games, I think we did. We kind of swayed a little bit on our confidence. But today, you know, I think we stepped it up, you know, and I think, you know, a lot of guys got their comfort back, knowing that we can play the style of defense that we played in the old days.
Cornerback Fred Thomas said you guys make things easier on him because you get so much pressure on that quarterback. They can kind of just sit back and play a little bit of a zone back there.
Well, you look back at the game that we lost, you know, we didn't get any pressure up front. You know, the linebackers didn't play well. And it trickles on down to the back to the defensive back, because if those guys have to cover, you know, more than 3 or 4 seconds, it's kind of hard for them. So it works hand in hand. Our defense works hand in hand. The front 7 along with the defensive backs.
Everyone down from Coach Haslett to Norman Hand and Joe Johnson all said that the key to beating the Panthers, really the key to beating anybody in the NFL, is making them one-dimensional. You guys took away the run because we knew the Panthers weren't a great running team. 49 yards today. Winke pressured as well, so one-dimensional seems to work in your favor today.
Well, that kind of shows you what that cliche, I don't know if you call it a cliche or whatever, but that's what the defense is trying to do, because, you know, you have these West Coast type offenses that, you know, pass the ball, throw the ball, play action and things like that. You know, you can't, you know, predict what they're going to do on any specific down. So what we try to do is take away the run. Therefore, we can use our strength, which is pass rush.
And we look ahead a little bit. The Falcons coming up next week. Next 3 opponents, NFC West opponents. Doesn't get any easier for you guys, but I know everyone's saying one game at a time, but you got to get these divisional games under your belt, get some wins.
So yes, we put ourselves in a situation, and you know, we lost a couple of key games. Now we just got to fight ourselves out of this hole, and what better way to do it? And you know, we control our own destiny here in the next few weeks.
And the Falcons losing this afternoon badly to St. Louis, so this is a very, very must-win for those guys. So I would think whoever wins this game, you know, whoever loses this game maybe knocks themselves out of that playoff wildcard spot.
Exactly. You know, it's just like I say, it's going to wind down to these last couple of weeks, and you know, we play the team that really beat us. You know, like the Falcons, they beat us last time, and you know, with us playing them, you know, we can get our revenge back. Number one, number two, put ourselves in a better position for us to play off.
This man's from Georgia. You know all about the Saints coming to town in Atlanta. That's a big, big rivalry. Charlie, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Juan.
Charlie Clemens, I guess, linebacker for the Saints here on 4th down. We appreciate his time.
This has been a memorable Saints season. And as long as NFL bloopers exist, this season will be immortal. This hasn't been the greatest Saints season, but it has been one of the most unusual as far as individual plays. There was Kyle Turley flipping the Jets' lid, Peyton Manning's phantom spike, and the pass interference by the man who usually calls pass interference. Luckless Phil Luckett, the back judge yesterday, broke up a certain touchdown catch by Joe Horn with his boneheaded positioning deep in the Carolina secondary. Though the fans wanted Luckett lynched, Jim Haslett was more charitable today.
You can't downgrade a guy for that because he's, you know, he thought we were trying to make it look like a running play, and you know, it was a good fake. Ricky held the ball. Our line did a great job of protecting, and then when he flipped it back, obviously Phil didn't see the ball being pitched back, and then when he turned, Joe was already there.
Whether the Saints will be facing Chris Chandler at quarterback Sunday depends on how quickly he heals from his latest injury. Chandler was knocked out of the game of the Rams yesterday late in the first half. The fragile quarterback sprained his left ankle when it was caught beneath him as one of his offensive linemen rolled up his leg, having fallen in pass protection. Michael Vick, who couldn't put any points on the board after replacing him, will start if Chandler can't go. A couple of very hot football teams meet in Atlanta Saturday night when the Tennessee Vols, who've won 7 in a row, take on LSU, who've won 4 straight for the SEC title. The Vols whipped the Tigers 26-18 in Knoxville earlier this season, and while you can learn from history, Nick Saban says you shouldn't necessarily expect it to repeat itself.
Everybody's probably going to want to go back and say, well, you know, talk about the last game and compare this game to the last game. I think they're probably a little different team right now, and they've made a tremendous amount of improvement over the course of the year. And I think we've made some improvement over the course of the year as well. So it's not really, it's a difficult comparison. It's not really the same two teams that play.
We all should aspire to something in life. Personally, I'm just trying to be the kind of man my dog Kramer thinks I am. I know I will fail. He still has hope. The Saints are aspiring to be the kind of team their fans thought they were before the start of the season. Many of those fans now think they will fail. They still have hope. Who these 2001 Saints are, we still don't know. What their destiny is, we are still unsure. But you say, surely it's still interesting though, isn't it? It is interesting, and don't call me Shirley. It's interesting because our preseason notions of what this team would be and what the quality of their opponents would be was preconceived as well. Before the season, you looked at the Vikings and the Colts and thought those 2 games could well be losses for the Saints. But they were both wins over football teams that are each now 4-7 after 11 games. Before the season, you looked at the Falcons, Jets, and Patriots and thought those could easily be wins for the Saints. They were all losses to teams that are 6-5, 7-4, and 7-5 at the moment. My point, and I do have one, is that we seldom take into account the quality of the opposition or lack thereof that is coming into focus in the final third of the schedule. Only the Falcons, as an NFC West opponent, present an opportunity to redress one of those losses to a presumably inferior foe. This coming Sunday in Atlanta could be the best possible road atmosphere in which to do so. Early last week, there were still some 23,000 tickets available in the Georgia Dome for the Falcons' showdown with the Rams, a game the Falcons sleptwalked through in losing 35-6. Falcon fans' loyalty changes as certainly as the leaves every autumn in Atlanta. With thousands of LSU fans going there for the SEC Championship game Saturday night, the opportunity exists to make Sunday's atmosphere in the Georgia Dome akin to a home game in the Superdome. Get a ticket for both, watch the Tigers and the Vols until about midnight, come back for the Saints and the Falcons about 13 hours later, or better yet, never leave at all. Just head to the parking lot. Keep partying, come back in the Dome around noon, grab yourself a stale Chick-fil-A from the concession stand, there'll be a lot of those, and just keep going. No need even to sober up. Hey, that's what Mondays are for. And next Monday, I fully expect to be here recounting another bizarre last-second victory for the Saints. As Michael Vick, scrambling for the winning touchdown on the final play of the game, gets tripped up at the 1-yard line by Phil Luckett, the back Judge Judy of the NFL. And that's Look at Sports.
Could be a big Louisiana weekend in Atlanta.
Could be a very big one.
All right.
From WGNO New Orleans, ABC 26 Sports, this is Inside Saints.
The Saints get back on track after a dominating day in the Dome. The Saints couldn't put away the feisty Panthers until a dramatic drive in the final minutes.
It's all good, baby.
Ricky tops 1,000 yards, and a ferocious pass rush smothers Chris Wenke. Now Jim Haslett talks about turning it around and gearing up for the stretch run. We're one-on-one with Jim Haslett.
Plus, meet the foot. The Charger cast-off is turning in one of the great seasons in Saints history. The rush is on, and the dancing is back. This is Inside Saints,
The official TV show of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Ed Daniels, Kim Davis, and Harry McCullough.
John Carney never looked so good. Hi, and welcome to Inside Saints. Harry, there he is, talking to Jim Haslett in a few minutes. Hi, Harry. But first, the Saints go good. The Saints go to 6-5 and get back in the playoff hunt.
Well, the Saints kept their playoff hopes alive by beating the now 1-11 Panthers 27-23. They had to score a touchdown in the final moments to pull it out, but a win is a win, and the Saints defense deserves a lot of the credit. The Saints defense was determined to come out and set the tone early. So Charlie Clemens dropping Chris Wenke for an 11-yard loss was a great way to start things off. It wound up being an 8-day sack for the boys in black and gold.
Our sacks will come. Our guys rush. We can rush the passer. We haven't had a lead here in the last 6 weeks, so it's hard to rush the passer when you're behind 13, 14, 20, nothing. So I think the key to it is get on somebody and get a lead so we can turn loose our guys. But when teams are going to run the ball and play action and do all that, it's hard to get to it. So you need to get a lead so you can make them drop back and throw the ball.
Aaron Brooks completed 26 of 40 passes for 330 yards. Joe Horn caught 13 of them for 150. Then there was the Ricky Williams ground attack, 27 carries, 102 yards, putting him over the century mark for the second year in a row. Throw in another 72 yards receiving, and it's the kind of day this team needed.
Well, we've been moving it on every team each week. The key is we have to keep accumulating points, as many points as we can. And, that hasn't been happening at certain times it has. We have to help our defense out because the defense definitely helps us out in time.
The defense didn't have to battle a double-digit deficit. That put the ball in their court, so to speak. Plus, the front four saw 5 to 7 drops, unlike recent weeks when they've seen 3. The game plan was simplified, and Joe Johnson insists they haven't lacked intensity.
I think it's lack of consistency. We haven't played consistent for 60 minutes yet this season, and we don't play consistently. You always put yourself in a position where you can win the game or you can lose the game.
Terrell Smith scored his first career touchdown. Albert Connell scored his second as a Saint. The end result, a 27-23 victory, a win every Saint knows is big.
Whoever played their best football in November and then in December will make it to the playoffs. So right now is a test of will right now.
Of course, this time of year, every win is big, and I know what your first thought may be, well, the Panthers are 1-11. But at this point, if they have to play the Little Sisters of Mercy, they've got to get a win. The defense deserves a lot of credit. 407 yards offense, 27 points. That concerns me, but a good job for the defense.
Still, you got to put teams away. Huh?
Yeah, you got to score.
Well, yeah, but you got to play good, and no doubt about that. I like the way that the big guys came to play in this game, and just like dogs, alpha males are the ones that lead the way, and the biggest guys are the alpha males, and they finally came to play, and the rest of the team just kind of follow them around, you know?
Did you learn that down in Houma, Harry?
Just like that.
I missed that one. They didn't teach us that in Metairie. That must be a Bayou thing. Well, Ricky Williams is not the shiftiest runner in the league, but when he builds up ahead of steam, defensive backs often quiver, then get out of the way. Out of the way? Yes, out of the way. Let's go inside the game. Saints defensive linemen must lick their chops at the sight of the Carolina Panthers. The Saints sacked Chris Wenke 8 times. Last season, the Saints sacked Steve Berline 16 times in 2 games. The Saints have 25 sacks of the Carolina quarterback in their last 4 meetings. Either Carolina needs a better offensive line or a mobile QB. When the Saints are able to run Ricky Williams successfully, the rest of the offense falls into place. Number 55, linebacker Dan Morgan, has a tough job. Play the run, then play man-to-man defense on tight end Eddie Boo Williams. Boo is loose for 19 yards. And Boo's blocking is improving. He handles number 59, Darren Hambrick. Ricky Williams is free for 10 yards. In Pro Bowl voting, the Saints should pull the lever for Panthers return man Steve Smith. Smith's 82-yard return set up a fourth-quarter field goal that got Carolina back in the game. In 2 games this season, Smith has 362 return yards and 1 touchdown against the Saints. Punt returners are supposed to stand at the 10-yard line. If the ball goes over their head, don't field it. But 3 times, St. Wayne McGarity fielded punts inside his own 10-yard line. McGarity has the ultimate confidence in his abilities. And here it pays off when he fields the ball in his own 7-yard line and returns for 42 yards. The Panthers will tell you they've won only once because they are unlucky in close games. But not today. Watch number 33, Doug Evans. He wanted no part of tackling Ricky Williams. Ricky then ran over number 30, Mike Minter, on the way to a 42-yard gain that set up the winning TD. A pump fake by Aaron Brooks froze safety Dion Grant. He was supposed to be helping deep on a wide-open Joe Horn.
Well, as you might expect with the 1-11 team, fans and sports writers in North Carolina are disgusted with their team. Inside the headlines now, Pat Yasinkas of the Charlotte Observer writes, if you missed the Panthers game Sunday, don't worry, you've seen it before. For the 5th time this season, the Panthers led in the final 5 minutes and lost. The position on the Panthers it isn't pretty. Heading into Sunday's game at Buffalo, draft position is about the only thing Carolina has to look forward to. Safety Mike Minter said, we've been learning from each mistake we've made. It's a different one every time. We've learned a whole lot of ways how you can lose a football game.
John Carney knocked through 2 more field goals Sunday. Now how the forgotten Charger found new life in black and gold.
Plus, Turley jams. See why the Saints' bad boy turned rock star.
And later, his team is back on the hunt. Now straight talking from the coach about his team's playoff chances. One-on-one with Jim Haslett coming up next on Inside Saints. This week, Kyle Turley jammed on stage with New Orleans' own Bag of Donuts. Turley organized the show, a special benefit for the September 11th Disaster Relief Fund.
Personally, I mean, watching those things take place just sent emotions through my body that were just, unexplainable.
More than 300 paid $50 a head to get in. Plus, they auctioned off a slew of Saint stuff. Altogether, Turley's show raised more than $15,000.
Those are our brothers and sisters up there. Those are Americans, and we got to show our support for them.
And that's a look inside the heart of the New Orleans Saints.
John Carney has been setting and breaking records even before his days at Notre Dame. After 11 standout seasons with the Chargers, he landed here with the Saints. A move he calls a blessing and a good opportunity inside the helmet. Coach Haslett calls him Mr. Automatic. That's pretty much what he's been his entire career. John Carney is fourth among active NFL kickers with an 80% average. In 1993, he made 29 consecutive field goals. In 94, he made 34 of 38 and earned a trip to the Pro Bowl. This season, he's 26 of 29. 2 of his misses were blocked. He says one of the keys is not getting too emotionally involved in the game.
Your job as a place kicker is just to prepare yourself for the next opportunity to go out there and kick. And so if you're playing cheerleader, running up and down the sideline and getting involved in what the offense and defense are doing on the field, you may be getting yourself out of your own game.
John's wife, Holly, a football novice when they met, says she finally understands the game and how making or missing kicks really affects him. When they started dating, he bought her a simple guide to football. Now they have what they call routines, like not talking the night before a game.
I get very nervous before the games. John always says this prayer, and I have taken it as my own prayer too, that God gives him wisdom, strength, courage, and poise. And now we've added, take away our anxiety to that prayer.
Like most NFL kickers, he started playing soccer. His high school didn't have a band, so he played football. After sitting the bench as a receiver, he started kicking.
True terms, we're not football players. We're a specialty position in midst of a football game and in midst of football players. So we are doing drills and things that are unique to our position, but not unique to a normal football player.
But like most football players, the ultimate goal remains the same.
As a child, whenever you first put on that football helmet, whether it's a Toys R Us football helmet or a Pop Warner football helmet, at that moment you say to yourself, someday I'm going to be in the Super Bowl and we're going to win. And I think that's everybody's dream, and you know, NFL players are no different.
He is really, talk about blessing, been a blessing for the Saints, because they lose some games without John Carney this season.
Yeah, guy's automatic for the most part, and he's done a great job. And the one thing that you'd like to have down the stretch, I think, when the Saints got the guy, is that they want a guy in late December, early January, when the season could very well be on the line at a place like in Atlanta or Tampa. You've got to have a guy who can make that 40-yarder and just...
Kind of automatic, kind of like you, Ed.
I don't know about that.
Count on you down the stretch.
I don't know about that. We'd have to get some people to maybe vote on that, take a poll.
It was the kind of drive playoff teams make. Now the coach talks about getting it done in the clutch. Harry McCullough goes one-on-one with Coach Haslett next.
Plus, Ricky runs for 1,000. Next, see who's happiest about the milestone. That's next on Inside Saints. Here's the inside scoop on Saints receiver Willie Jackson. When he's not snagging passes, Jackson is passionate about keeping kids away from cigarettes. He says sports can help do that.
You're in sports, and you always have someone monitoring you. You don't have that free time to go, well, let me try this new thing. So I think it's very important, and I don't think people understand the importance of it, how important it is to keep kids from smoking.
Willie Jackson's fight against kids smoking. The inside scoop on players' lives every week on Inside Saints.
Now, Chrysler presents One-on-One with Coach Jim Haslett. Here's ABC 26's Harry McCullough.
You know, after Phil Luckett's play, Jim Haslett said he ran down to talk to the side judge, and the side judge kind of walked over and said, boy, old Phil kind of blew that one, didn't he? And Haslett said, no, he didn't. You blew that one. See, Phil Luckett was watching the tight ends on that play. He thought it was a run. It was that side judge's responsibility to call interference, and he missed Joe Horn getting mugged by the cornerback before he was mugged by Luckett in that play. But anyway, that was just one of the weird and wild plays that made this blowout, turned it into a thriller.
Well, we make things close, especially at home for our fans. But yeah, I thought we played, well on defense, extremely well. We dominated at times on offense, and special teams, we kind of hung in there. We played better than we did the first time, but probably not good enough to really win a game. And I think the special teams area that we didn't play well in, and that's, you know, of all the games we played this year, Carolina's really got our number the 2 games we played.
Yeah, they do a good job with returns. To me, what impressed me was that your alpha males stepped up, the big guys, the big dogs in the trenches. It seemed like offensive and defensive line-wise might have been your best overall performance.
Well, the things that we do best, you know, when we can have a chance to rush the passer and run the ball, and our offensive and defensive lines are really our main points of, you know, of our football team. And I thought both of them stepped up and played extremely well yesterday, and we got to continue that the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's human nature, I think, to follow the biggest guys in the locker room. I don't know, but I've often heard, you know, as Joe Theismann used to bark a lot, you know, it was until the Hogs really bought into it that just teams rally around the biggest guys in the locker room.
Well, I think that's mostly the case. You got 325-pound guys walking around the locker room that, you know, if they want to control that football team, they really can.
Winning one game's the easy part for you guys, but now you got to do it back-to-back, and it would be no better time than to get a back-to-back here against Atlanta. Huh?
Well, I said it last week that, you know, you can't win 2 games unless you win 1, and we won 1, and now I think our concentration needs, you know, to solely go on to the Falcons and not worry about, again, what's ahead of us. And we need to go out Wednesday and have a great day of practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, load it up and make a run at it, because everything that we need to win is in front of us, you know, this game and the rest of them. So I think it's important we take 1 game at a time. We got to try to find a way to win this game down there.
Yeah, things actually keep falling in place for y'all. There's still things that are happening good, like playing Atlanta this week after they come off a loss.
Well, yeah, and, you know, that's again, they're a good football team, and every time we play them, you know, it's tough, and we're going to play. It's going to be a tough game down there, but we have to play better than we did at home, and we got to control the football, and we got to do a better job with ball security and offense, and we got to get some turnovers on defense.
Yeah, Coach, you've heard the term country come to town. It should be Cajun come to town this week. Not only are you guys going to play a big game in Atlanta, but LSU's going to play the night before in the SEC Championship. LSU trying to win this game to go to the Sugar Bowl, which happens to be played at the Dome. If you guys kind of get it rolling, maybe you go to the Super Bowl at the Dome.
Well, and Nick Saban's really done a great job with that program, and I think it's kind of worked out nice that you know, the LSU fans and the Saints fans can be in the same city at the same time, and hopefully LSU wins Saturday, and then maybe some of those fans will stay over and come to our game, and we'll get a pretty good crowd at our game because there's a lot of tickets available, and you know, that'll help us out too. So it's you know, it's an exciting time for the city, you know, with both LSU and the Saints.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think there will be plenty of tickets available. You know, there's like 20,000 or something for the Atlanta game. And since that Florida team didn't make it into the SEC championships, there might be a few of those tickets still available for LSU fans to go to that game as well.
All right, so yeah, I know we're going to do the playoff pairings a little bit later, but I still think the Saints have an excellent chance at the playoffs because, you know, if they beat Atlanta and they beat Tampa Bay, those are the people who they're really competing with for that 6th playoff spot. I mean, you look at it. I mean, they do not have to run the table. That's a fallacy if you look at the schedule.
I'm going to go ahead and vote for running the table, though. And then if you drop one, we're okay.
Yeah, I know Harry's going to say, and I know Harry's going to say they're going to run the table. So
no, I'm voting for running
this team. Cursed in a lot of ways, but also blessed in a lot of ways. The way it's all fallen into place.
It was playing that way.
Ricky Williams came up huge in Sunday's win, 174 yards rushing and receiving, and a huge play in the final drive. ABC 26's Doug Mouton looks back at a special afternoon for number 34.
2.5 minutes to go, Carolina up by 3. Aaron Brooks dumps it off to Ricky Williams, and Williams wheels the Saints down to the Panther 32. This might have been the game's biggest play. It set up Joe Horn's game winner. But this was a huge one, too. On this little 4-yard gain, number 34 topped 1,000 yards for the season and responded in typical Ricky fashion.
Just doing my job. It's another day at the office.
Whether he downplays it or not, 1,000 yards in 11 games is a big deal. A sign the Saints are winning the battle up front. For the Saints to win down the stretch and in the playoffs, they'll need a lot more of this. Ricky Williams is now the 2nd Saint to rush for 1,000 yards twice. George Rogers also did it twice. And nobody's happier about number 34 going over 1,000 than the big guys up front.
For him to come in and have, you know, 2,000-yard years and just, you know, contribute the way he's contributed this year and stay healthy, I mean, that's it's a tribute to him, and you know, it's definitely, you know, we're smiling all the way down the field too, seeing him run down the field and have fun.
At the Superdome, Doug Mouton for Inside Saints.
Eaten alive in St. Louis, and now their quarterback is hobbling. The latest on Chris Chandler as the Saints get ready to storm Atlanta. Next on Inside Saints.
New Orleans is working to...
Dominating performances this week from the Rams and 49ers inside the West. Kurt Warner and the Rams on fire against the Falcons.
Touchdown.
First quarter, Warner to Marshall Faulk. Touchdown. Third quarter, Warner to Marshall Faulk. Touchdown. Fourth quarter, Warner again to Marshall Faulk. This one goes 65 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Carver High star, 100 for his career. The Rams rout the Falcons 35-6. Same story in San Francisco where the 49ers mauled the Bills. Ahmed Plummer with the interception. The Niners picked off Alex Van Pelt 4 times. Jeff Garcia was sharp again. This one goes to Ty Streets. San Francisco cruises 35-0.
I'll tell you what.
This Sunday, a showdown for first place. The 49ers and Rams play in St. Louis. Then it's the Falcons, Saints, and Panthers. If the season ended today, the Rams, Bears, and Eagles would be division champs. The wild cards, San Francisco, Green Bay, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Saints head to Atlanta this weekend. The Falcons might be without quarterback Chris Chandler. In the second quarter of yesterday's loss to the Rams, Chandler gets crunched by Jeff Zanina. He left the game with an ankle injury. Today, x-rays were negative. The Falcons say the swelling is down. The team says he has a chance to play Sunday. Chandler says he hopes to practice on Wednesday. Time now to pick the Saints at the Falcons, which is an awfully big game. And let's start with Harry.
He's not going to play. We've seen that guy before. He's not going to play. Michael Vick will play, and the Falcons will win this game with Doug Johnson, and the Saints will win this one going away.
All right, more of that reverse psychology from Harry, who's really picking the Saints, but was told to pick the Falcons by Jim Haslett. Okay.
I'm going to pick the Saints.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick LSU for the heck of it.
Okay, I'm going to pick the Saints, and I'm going to pick Tennessee.
All right.
From all of us here at ABC 26, thanks for watching Inside Saints.
Inside Saints, the official TV show of the New Orleans Saints, is an exclusive presentation of ABC 26 Sports.
It was a weekend of football as sweet as a Georgia peach. What's the fuzz about? This backup quarterback made his mark in the championship game. It's the pitch for the Falcons as Deuce does in the Dirty Birds. Fourth down starts now. Fourth down on 4. Dome, sweet Georgia Dome for both the Saints and LSU this weekend. Welcome to Fourth Down on 4. I'm Juan Kincaid. LSU kicked off the party Saturday night in Atlanta, and the Saints brought it to a close today. The Saints didn't like the trash talking the Falcons did earlier this week, so they made them eat their words. Lee Zurich has more from Atlanta.
I love it, baby. Two man in it. Two on lead. Two on.
Needing to start and finish strong. 2 lessons the Saints have learned from this bizarre season. Jim Haslett's club has grown accustomed to giving up early leads, and they did it again today, down 7 minutes into the game. But there's a different story to the first 15 minutes of this one. The Saints add 2 touchdowns to take a 14-7 first quarter lead.
We got to stop the first series. That's our thing this year. We give up more big plays this year than we ever did last year. So our thing is we can't let them score first. We hate to play from behind, but that's what good teams do. They come from adversity, and today the same thing, down 7-0, and then after that we kind of shut them down.
Lesson number 2, close games in the fourth quarter can lead to losses to the Falcons. They learned that lesson in the team's meeting earlier this season. So a focused club puts 2 touchdowns on the board in the 4th quarter to put the game out of reach.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, but we should have beat them the last time. It was 10-10 in the 3rd quarter. We just let them hang around. When you let a team hang around, they're gonna, they'll sneak up and bite you.
There's a lot of games we play that we let people hang around, and we don't want to do that today. We want to do whatever it takes, score points, and just keep pounding and pounding, and just play physical.
After the Falcons' opening drive, the Saints defense buckled down, keeping Atlanta out of the end zone. The reason? Pressure. Chris Chandler sacked 9 times. The Falcons gained just 230 total yards, with only 50 coming on the ground.
The first game they ran all over us, we couldn't stop the run. And we watched the film, and, I put a lot of blame on myself because they brought me here to stop the run. And the thing I wasn't doing, I wasn't coming off the football. And, the other guys wasn't needed. So we took offense that we were going to come off the football. We were going to shoot our guns these next 5-6 weeks.
The game ball went to the whole defense. I thought they covered well. We played a lot of man-to-man today. We played a little bit of what we normally play, too deep early, and they got us early. So we went and played, Ron and Rick went and played a lot of man, and we hung in there and played pretty well.
The Saints say they were motivated even before they left the tunnel here in the Georgia Dome today. The Falcons made some comments after their win earlier this season, and that had the Saints fired up for today's ball game.
They were talking a lot of trash. There was a lot of locker room talk. Coach Hasley posted in the locker room saying they wore us down in the second half, and it was going to be like this, be like that this game, and they did this. They was almighty. So I'm quite more than sure it motivates some of us, but we knew in the back of our minds they really couldn't hang with us. To be honest, they really couldn't hang with us.
More motivation for the Saints. How about the fans? Thousands traveled from New Orleans, at times making the Georgia Dome feel like the Superdome.
There's 20,000 fans, screaming fans. They kind of took over the dome, after we got the lead, and it definitely felt like a home crowd for us. So we're definitely going to celebrate tonight.
Jim Haslett's club knew they needed to win this game, probably their most complete performance of the season. The Saints come away with their largest margin of victory this year and stay alive in the playoff hunt.
We're not going to worry about what's going on. I know someone came in and said Tampa won. You know what? We'll play Tampa, so we'll worry about that when the time comes. I think the most important thing is we're going to get off our feet, get some time off, get rejuvenate here, and then try to come back and load up and see what we can do next week.
Must win every week. We have to win football games now, regardless of who's on our schedule. Personal. We have to win football games, and it's personal here on out for every team.
And it won't get more personal than 1 week from Monday when the Saints meet their arch rival, St. Louis Rams.
Non-stop, boy, like a freight train. Keep them coming. We're going to keep coming. Yeah. All the way, all the way.
With the Saints in Atlanta, I'm Lee Zurich, 4th down and 4.
Playing our numbers game, Aaron Brooks continues to roll in the passing game. 20 of 30, 279 yards and a touchdown. Not really a great day for the ground game, though. Just 114 total yards, 54 of them coming on that one run by Deuce, 41 by Ricky Williams on 15 carries. Both had touchdown runs. And Joe Horn's looking like a repeat Pro Bowler with another receiving day of well over 100 yards. 138 to be exact in a touchdown, but the game ball could be given to the defense. 9 sacks on the day, 17 in the past 2 weeks. And for the team's effort, Jim Haslett's given the guys a few days off. Some of them decided to stay in Atlanta. One of them didn't. Darryl Terrell, I guess, an offensive tackle for the Saints. We do appreciate you being with us, Darryl.
How you doing?
Not too bad, man. Hey, a big win for this team, a big win, a must-win game on the road. How's it feel?
It feels great. It's great to go up there and take it to Atlanta and come out with the victory.
Not many times we've been able to say this, but a fast start by the offense and a strong finish. First of all, talk about the fast start and how important. Was there something said in the locker room before the game about getting off to a good start against this team, not falling behind against this team?
Definitely a good start as possible because, this last couple of weeks we've been missing the coin toss there, and fortunately we was able to come out and put a good drive together and complete it at the end of the game.
A couple of unfortunate plays, the fumble, by the Falcons that was called back, given back to the Falcons, and then just a number of things didn't go right for you guys in the middle, but the team finishes strong with the long pass to Joe Horn, then the touchdown run by Deuce McAllister. Good to see. Now if we can get that middle part fixed, we'll be all right.
Right, definitely. We have to work on all aspects of the game and then starting to gel together as the season is coming to an end.
Aaron Brooks, this is a guy that you got to watch a lot when you were on the sidelines while Willie Roaf was in the game. You've seen how much he's matured over this whole entire season, his first as a complete starter for this team. Talk about his maturity and how he's gotten more and more confident in his system.
I think Aaron has definitely got a lot more confident, and he's become a good known leader in the huddle on the field, and he's maturing every week.
Seems like the team kind of changed things up a little bit today, because I know a lot of defensive teams that come against you guys say, let's stop the run first. You guys turn it around. First 9 of 11 passes are first 9 of 11 plays are passes.
Like I said, the offensive coordinator, he wanted to go out there and challenge them out on the edge. Those one-on-one battles. It was a great day for us.
All right, Darryl Terrell, our guest here on 4th down. Much more with him in just a second. Going to make him stay a little bit longer. Still ahead here on 4th down, the LSU Tigers. Well, they found plenty of reasons to celebrate in the Georgia Dome last night, as did the Saints today. We'll take you back to last night's SEC championship game with plenty of post-game comments. Also ahead, much more on the Saints. And there was a Deuce McAllister sighting in Atlanta today. Finally, this guy plays well. The Falcons couldn't hold Deuce. We'll have Darryl talk about the guy he occasionally blocks for, and I'll get it out right next on 4th Down. Stay with us.
4th down on 4.
Deuce does kickoff returns. He occasionally runs the ball, and now we can say that Deuce throws touchdown passes as well. The Saints believe they had a real find when they drafted the rookie out of Ole Miss, but it seems he can do it all if given the chance. Jim Henderson has more from Atlanta.
Deuce McAllister. The Deuce was a tray today, a triple threat. Deuce McAllister again contributed as a kick returner, but as both a passer and a runner as well. He said afterward his lack of playing time on offense hadn't frustrated him.
I've been pretty much, enjoying myself on the kickoff returns, just trying to break one of those. I know one of them's coming. It looked pretty good on the opening kickoff. I think the kicker did a pretty good job. But as far as offense, whenever they call my number, I'm just trying to, be able to make a big play for the team.
First, he contributed his first NFL touchdown in the unlikely role of passer, a play the Saints had worked on in practice, but almost fell on the cutting room floor when the Saints put together their playlist.
It was one that we put in this weekend. It was close to getting thrown out. So, I just tried to place the ball and let Jack run up under, and he did a great job of just adjusting to the ball and catching it.
Why didn't they think you'd be able to pull that play off? You said they almost threw it out. Well, you could do it.
Basically because I'm a right-handed guy and it's rolling to the left. Right. So, you have to really get your hips around, and you have to try to square up as much as possible. And earlier in the week, I didn't do a good job of doing that. So, I was just glad that I was able to get the ball off today.
That memento was kept by Willie Jackson. Deuce got one for his own trophy case in the 4th quarter. His 54-yard touchdown run was his first rushing touchdown and the longest run of the season for the Saints. For the first time this season, the Saints were able to employ their 1-2 punch on offense that knocked the Falcons out of the wild card running for a playoff berth, at least for now.
For the first 15 plays, I think Deuce, we were in there 9 times. We were trying to get Deuce on a linebacker or Deuce on a safety, and they did a pretty good job early. And then, obviously Ricky becomes the fullback, and we ran a little bit out of it. Deuce threw a nice pass, and then you saw his speed on the one thing. And I don't know if you noticed, the 2 blocks were Lamont and Ricky.
In Atlanta at the Georgia Dome, Jim Henderson, 4th down on 4.
Back inside with Saints tackle Darryl Terrell, just like you said, getting more touches. Deuce getting more touches with the ball and getting better.
That's right. I think Deuce is definitely improving, and he's using his time wisely in the backfield.
One thing you guys have in common, both of you guys are trying to get your feet wet in this position. Now you're back at tackle for the 2nd straight game after Willie Roaf went down. You always said that the only thing that you lack in this game is some playing experience, actual game time experience, and you're getting that now. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel great, to get those reps and to feel good about myself. It's going to do wonderful for down the road.
The Saints defense you guys get 9 sacks today, 18 in the last 2 weeks. Well, what can you say about this defense? It's kind of kept you guys off the field a little bit, and when you guys don't score a lot of points, they're there to back you up.
That's right. The defense is coming along fine. Leroy, Joe, and all those guys, they're pretty wonderful.
You play this defense every day, so you guys know what they have to offer, what they bring to the table each and every week. Seems like teams are just being surprised by it, but today, 9 sacks on Chandler, on blitzes, and especially that front 4 is doing most of the damage.
Definitely. All we need is pressure on the quarterback, and DBs can cover the guys on the outside pretty well.
Rams Monday night. All right, so everybody knows about the Rams. You guys have won 3 of 4, last 3 of 4, losing last year's playoff game. Not playoff game, but the game at their place. Right. So you guys got a Monday night. We know it's a big game. Everyone's going to get to watch it. No letdown this time, I'd imagine. No worries about that?
No letdowns. We're going to be pumping on all cylinders.
What is it about this Rams team that just brings out the best in the Saints? Is this the Saints' biggest rival now?
I would think so, but they bring a lot out because they have a complete game, you know, and we have to be at our complete game, and it's going to be a good game for Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football with the Rams.
That's
Not
right.
bad here in New Orleans.
That's right.
Darryl, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Darryl Terrell, I guess, here on 4th down. Tackle for the Saints. Still to come here on 4th.
Saints get ready for the stretch run, huh?
Yeah, and probably without the receiver who was supposed to stretch the defense. Albert Connell's name on the Saints roster may be written in vanishing ink. Jim Haslett said late this afternoon that the disappointing free agent acquisition was still on the team's roster right now. But his locker room stall is totally cleaned out, quite likely signifying that he's been waived and is no longer with the team. If that is indeed the case, the Saints will have room at the bottom of their depth chart for Wayne McGarity, who saw his first action of the season for the Saints at wide receiver yesterday, and maybe the addition of Onome Ojo in the near future. Ojo's inexperience is being lessened by his diligence.
He's done a great job. He studies tapes. We got tapes of all the receivers in the league, or everybody we've played. And he goes and studies them. He comes back and gives me reports on them. Well, this guy doesn't come out with breaks very well. This guy has good hands, doesn't run good routes. So, and I think he's looking at other receivers in the league, and I think it's helping him. He's doing a good job in practice. Time frame, I don't know. We'll just wait and see what happens here.
And you can read more from Jim Haslett's press conference on our website at www. There was a Louisiana joke going around Atlanta this weekend. Know how to get rid of the Taliban? Declare them an endangered species, put a season on them, and tell Louisiana hunters they can't shoot more than 2. Yesterday, the Saints went falcon hunting, shot down all 45 of the birds they saw, and rendered their endangered playoff chances virtually extinct. Of course, with Saints fans outnumbering Falcon fans in the Georgia Dome much of the day, the Saints were hunting on a baited field and baited the Falcons most of the afternoon. With the Saints ahead from the first quarter on, and the Falcons' #1 running back Maurice Smith held to about 1/2 yard per carry, Falcon quarterback Chris Chandler was left more exposed than Britney Spears' navel as the Saint pass rush got to him a record-tying 9 times. On offense, the Saints got 2 50-yard touchdowns in the fourth quarter to blow it wide open. A 50-yard pass to Joe Horn for 1 score, and a 54-yard run by Deuce McAllister for another 4 minutes later. McAllister's 54-yard touchdown run was more than twice as long as Ricky Williams' longest touchdown run of his career as a Saint, a 26-yarder against the Falcons last year. Now, that is not to denigrate Williams' skills, as both his blocking and pass receiving have made him the NFL's most complete back at the moment. But it points out the element the Saints saw in Deuce McAllister before drafting him, the ability to go the distance when he gets to the third level of the defense. With nearly a whole quarter yet to play, Falcon fans were streaming for the exits after watching the Falcons play their 2 biggest games of the season at home on successive weeks against the Rams and the Saints, and watch them lose both games by a combined score of 63-16. It's a continuing saga of Southern decadence that's as old as Strom Thurmond for Falcon fans, and now it's back to the Superdome for the Saints as they await the St. Louis Rams a week from tonight. Monday Night Football ratings are down 12% this year to an all-time low, largely because only 1 game all season has produced a matchup of teams with winning records. 1 week from tonight, they get another. And if the whole world isn't watching, it should be. St. Louis brings the greatest show on turf to the Superdome, where the Saints are planning their big flop under the big top. It's open season on Rams, and there will be no limit to the Saints and their fans' enthusiasm. What a great night that will be.
It'll be a great game.
Great. Thanks, Jim.
From WGNO New Orleans, ABC 26 Sports, this is Inside Saints.
Hey, we #1! We're on top of the world!
Louisiana storms Atlanta, and the Georgia Dome becomes our house. The defense beats up Chris Chandler. Joe Horn does another touchdown dance, and the Saints start thinking about Monday night.
Woo! We came and we conquered, baby. Hey, we got something started. We're going to see you on Monday night, baby. We're going to crank it up.
We'll look ahead to that primetime date with the Rams. But first, the coach savors his team's Falcon plucking. We're a one-on-one with Jim Haslett.
Plus, the deuce breaks loose, how the rookie's learning curve is starting to pay off big. Hey, Deuce, you just threw your first touchdown pass. What are you going to do now?
Hey, I'm going home to watch Inside Saints.
The official TV show of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Ed Daniels, Kim Davis, and Harry McCullough.
Nothing like a little shameless self-promotion to get the show started tonight, but we like it. Welcome to Inside Saints. There's Harry. He goes one-on-one with Jim Haslett in a few minutes to ask him about his best friend, Mike Martz. But first, how the Saints made it 2 in a row to go 7-5. Kim?
Right. Well, Coach Haslett called yesterday's game against the Falcons the best total effort of the season. For the Saints, they jumped out to an early lead and built on it. It's the kind of output they need the rest of the season if they want a shot at the title. This game started like most have for the Saints, with the other team making big offensive plays early and getting in the end zone first. The difference? The Saints also got offensive. 14 first-quarter points and a lead they never relinquished.
I mean, it's not all me. I got a lot of help out there. They just make my job a little easier now, which I commend them for doing it.
Brooks threw for 279 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and a 107 passer rating. He completed 20 of 30 passes to 8 different players. 4 players scored touchdowns, including Deuce McAllister, who ran 1 and threw for another.
It was a play that we put in earlier this week, and it was close to getting thrown out of the playbook because I didn't think I could do it, but the coaching staff had enough confidence in me, and I just tried to place the ball, not really try to throw it too hard, and just let Jack run up under, and it was good for 6.
After the Falcons' opening drive, the Saints defense made a statement, with Norman Hand getting the first of 9 sacks for the Saints.
They're letting us go a lot more, and they're relying for the front 4 to get the job done, and that's a result of us just penetration and getting up the field and not sitting back waiting.
The Saints limited the Falcons to 50 yards rushing. Chandler was on the run all day and picked off once. Of course, the game was won in the trenches thanks to the Saints' front 4.
I think the key to the game was playing good defense and not giving up the big hit. We got the one early on us again, but that's kind of Rambo, and I thought we played good special teams.
They all agreed this was a huge win. Of course, in December, they're all huge, especially when you're fighting for a playoff spot.
Before the game, we said it's going to be a 5-game season, one at a time. Each game is going to be playoff atmosphere. And so we just got to take another step forward here and put this one behind us and move on to the Rams.
Pretty good game, pretty good weekend, but I tell you what, they did a lot of things right. Coach Haslett said after the game, we gave up the big play on the first drive. We've come known for that. The difference yesterday was, after that, they pretty much shut the Falcons down.
I know it's always and still is an X's and O's game, but from a motivational standpoint, Harry, I would have to think that the chewing out that Haslett and Sam Clancy did of the defensive line maybe has had some kind of effect, right?
Right. Hey, if you go back to the New England game, they got embarrassed, and they were talking about both lines. That was the strength of this team. Since then, it seems like especially Glover and especially Hand have been really getting upfield, really just kind of taking things over, and it has showed with his last 2 games, 17 sacks.
Well, let's after the show, let you and I chew Harry out, and we'll get him a little motivated here for the stretch drive, okay?
I tell you what, coming into the season, people talked about the Saints maybe having the best 2 lines in football, and when those two parts of the team weren't playing that well,
right,
neither was the team. Now they're both playing better, so
well, we'll see if they can keep it going for about 4 more weeks and then some. Well, after a mid-season coma, the Saints defense appears to be awake, but only after another team once again scored a touchdown against the Saints on their opening drive. Let's go inside the game.
As they did earlier this season, the Falcons scored a touchdown on the first drive of the game by using max protection. The Falcons keep 2 backs in to protect Chris Chandler. Brian Finneran is open for 31 yards. Later in the same drive, 7 blocking 6. Bob Christian gets downfield for the 21-yard reception that set up a 1-yard touchdown run by Maurice Smith. Give Saints offensive coordinator Mike McCarthy a thumbs up for play design. Ricky Williams at fullback, Deuce McAllister at tailback. Watch the 2 linebackers when the ball is faked to Ricky. The perimeter is now open for McAllister to make an easy flip to Willie Jackson for a touchdown. The Falcons' offensive line was dreadful. Watch guard Bob Hallen get bull rushed by Norman Hand. Hallen had to tackle Hand to allow Chris Chandler to throw a 55-yard touchdown pass to Terrence Mathis. Points that were quickly taken off the board. The Falcons were so bad they allowed a sack on a two-man rush. Ephraim Salam is whipped by Willie Whitehead on the spin move. Salam had no inside help to prevent one of 9 sacks by the Saints. Saints safety Jay Bellamy made a great hustle play. He's blocked but still uses his left hand to pop the ball free from return man Derek Vaughn. Steve Gleason recovers, setting up a 1-yard Ricky Williams touchdown run. Falcons coach Dan Reeves is known for going with the long ball after his team gets a turnover or good field position. After a short Falcon punt, the Saints at the 50. And what happens? They go long. Joe Horn runs by Ray Buchanan for the touchdown that broke this game wide open.
Ambrose tries to come over and help.
Fans and sports writers in Atlanta are tossing in the towel on the Falcons season and praising the Saints' big play receiver. Inside the headlines now, Curtis Bunn of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution writes, "For much of Sunday, it seems the lads from Louisiana had a mojo put on them. A touchdown on a fumble return was called back, and the Saints' challenge of a turnover didn't get overturned. There was hardly a play where an official's flag didn't nullify a Saints assault. With such karma in their favor, the Falcons remained a threat into the fourth quarter. It became clear that if there was a spell, it was not on the Saints, but on the Falcons. A spell called Joe Horn."
The first round pays huge dividends in the Georgia Dome. Now how home cooking is helping Deuce step up to the big time.
Plus, supermodels in waiting. Saints tips on how to properly hit the runway.
And later, turning up the heat. Jim Haslett talks about putting the pressure on. That's ahead on Inside Saints. Here's the inside scoop on how to be a fashion model.
Most male models, they just look straight and walk. So they're not going to shake it like the women do.
Quarterback Jeff Blake, one of 19 Saints strutting their stuff, and Carl Kanai's best for charity.
I mean, it's just one of those things, you just take a deep breath and you just go for it, I got my walk down a little bit, so I think it should be all right.
After the fashion show, each player was up for sale. Bidders bought the players' time, and the bids raised more than $10,000 for various local charities. The inside scoop on players' lives every week on Inside Saints.
Well, next to Archie Manning, Deuce McAllister is the most decorated player in Ole Miss history. He holds 7 school records. However, his role with the Saints has taken some getting used to, and he hopes it continues to expand. We talked to the Saints' first-round draft pick inside the helmet. At 6'1", 220 pounds, Deuce McAllister poses a lot of problems for his opponents. His speed makes it tough for linebackers to keep up with him. He's too big for defensive backs to cover and strong enough to run over people. Off the field, his demeanor is quite different. He's quiet, seems unassuming, basically he's just a really nice guy.
Football just happens to be my job. I'm a pretty much laid back type of guy, and just try to be as down to earth as possible. And when I'm out there having fun or doing my job, I'm out there just having fun, and it's just trying to take it as a challenge. Whenever my number or a play is being called for me, I want to see, do I have the ability to score every time I touch it.
A tall task for most, but it's one of the things that made the Saints select him in the first round of this year's draft. Deuce is a guy who can make things happen, but he plays behind another pretty good running back, Ricky Williams. So he calls this season a learning process and says he's trying to let the game come to him.
Yeah, probably the biggest difference is, probably 35 touches, assuming to maybe 10 touches now. And, it's just trying to be not really present, but having a more sense of urgent when I do get to touch the ball now, knowing that I may not get it again.
3/4 of the way through his rookie season, Deuce is showing more and more that he's a guy you definitely want with the ball. When asked what would make this a successful season for him personally, he says to be a weapon in the playoffs.
And just be a guy that when the coaching staff, the opponents, you know, they get to looking at film and they're watching the Saints. You know, they have to be accountable for where I'm at, and that's where these last 5 games and hopefully during the playoffs, I can make the biggest difference for this team.
Now, when I asked him if he was starting to feel more comfortable, he said yes, he's adjusted to the NFL. He's really become more of a student of the game, and he feels good here. He thinks this is a good fit for him, and the more they get Deuce involved, obviously it's good for this team.
Yeah, he can run away from people. I know one of the guys, I think it was in one of the national magazines, wrote earlier this year that Deuce McAllister was a bust, and then it was a bad pick by the Saints. I wonder if the guy would feel the same if he was drafted by the Giants or the Jets.
Oh, yeah, let's call him.
Let's get on the phone and talk to him.
The Dirty Birds crashed Sunday. Next, we're one-on-one with Jim Haslett to talk about how his team got revenge in Atlanta.
Plus, he's no ordinary Joe, a monumental milestone for number 87, and a lot more ahead on Inside Saints.
And she came to our game.
Saints kicker John Carney fielded some hard-hitting questions this week.
We get 3 points for a field goal, but I don't think they sell jelly beans in the stadium.
Carney took time out to talk football and whatever else these tiny students wanted to talk about at the Louise McGee School.
First running back in Saints history ever to do that. He's really good. Well, your dad must be a fast runner.
John Carney with all the answers on and off the field. And that's a look inside the heart of the New Orleans Saints.
The kicker for the Saints, he makes all the...
Now, Chrysler presents One-on-One with Coach Jim Haslett. Here's ABC 26's Harry McCullough.
What a weekend in Atlanta. Plenty of fans wearing gold and purple and black and gold. It was quite a weekend as 2 teams tried to play their way into bowl games at the Superdome. Of course, LSU clinched the Sugar Bowl berth with their win on Saturday night. Now the Saints hope they're in the middle of a run that gets them into the Super Bowl.
Well, you could feel the electricity in the air, and you knew there was a lot of fans when we arrived at the hotel. There was, 2,000-3,000 people down at the lobby of the hotel, so I think our players were excited about it, and I believe it really helped us, win the game. I mean, our guys were intense, and I think there was a focus there and a reason to go over there. It was a business trip, and again, we played pretty good road football for whatever reason, but I thought that helped us having all those fans over there.
Yeah, it sure did. It really sounded loud. They're doing the wave, doing all kind of stuff like that. Your defense, I know a couple of weeks ago after the New England game, especially your guys right in the middle, you talked to Hand and Glover, and you were saying kind of challenged them a little bit, and they really seemed like they've stepped up, and in turn your defense, it's all kind of sacks the last couple of games.
Well, I think our defense, I believe our defensive line has really played well the last 2 games, and they're coming off the ball, and they're making things happen, and I like the way they're playing with leverage. They're playing low. We're playing to run, which is the most important thing, and then again, if we ever get a lead, we can rush the passer, and we did a pretty good job the last couple of weeks, but that's something we got to continue to do the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop this week. Now you got to play the Rams, huh? Does it get any bigger than this? Monday Night Football, and I guess they got revenge on their minds since you've taken 3 out of 4 from them.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is, we take one game at a time. This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be an exciting game. I think it's exciting for the city. I mean, this is the first Monday night game here in a while, and it's 2 good football teams playing. And, 2 teams that probably really don't like each other that much, and and then the sportscasters and the media will build it up a little bit. So I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be fun to watch, and I expect us to play well.
I noticed you used some bulletin board material going into that game. I don't think you'll need to motivate these guys this week going in this game. In fact, you've actually given them a couple of days off. You probably even want to wind them down more than anything going into the Rams game.
Well, we gave them 3 days off, which is a little bit unheard of in the league. But I think this is a great time to have 3 days off. We're a little bit sore and beat up, and it's a time for us to get some rest and load up for the next 24, 25 days to make a run at the playoffs. And I think this comes at a good time, the Monday night game, and we'll get some rest. But I told them, take the 3 days off. but think about it. You know, think about, you know this team and they know us, so, you know, sit there and, you know, think about what we got to do this week.
Yeah, like this rivalry is so good. Even the coaches are getting into it with you and Mike Martz. You know, Coach, last time you were talking about bullcrap plays after the last week. They pulled another one this week, and I even noticed you even ran one of those bullcrap plays this week.
What I was trying to say was they have. They got great athletes. They got great players. You know, they're a finesse team or whatever. But I'd probably do the same thing. I mean, they got receivers that can play running back can play receiver. I mean, they're loaded on offense, and they do a great job with schemes. And I think they have fun with what they do. It's kind of like what we do in defense. Our guys have fun with what we do. So, you know, maybe it was a misused word, but you know, I think again, you know, we did a little bit of it the other day, and if you got those kind of players, you know, whatever you got to do to win in this league.
Yeah, no, that's great. That just says a lot about the rivalry. Something that hadn't been great though. What about the officiating? I've never seen a year like this, and I don't want to sound like a guy that's whining, and I know you don't either. That reputation. But I mean, you go from the Giants game with all of those plays, and the Colts and Peyton Manning spikes, Phil Luckett's getting hit in the head, and now this return. I mean, what's going on with the officiating?
I think it's the way the earth is tilted right now. They get a chance to sit back and look at it and review it. I don't know how you screw that one up, but again, I don't know what they see in those little square thing. You know, I don't know what they're looking at. Right. So that's hard for me to say.
Yeah, you know, the way this year has gone, just hopefully this is a great game at the Superdome, and hopefully the officials don't get involved with this one, because it has all the making of a great game on Monday Night Football. The key, of course, will be the Saints getting to Kurt Warner and really putting some heat on him like they have been the last couple of games.
I'll tell you what, the way this defensive line is playing, Kurt Warner could be in for a long day. They are getting fired up, and I think it's going to be a great game on Monday night.
I think pressure on Warner is important. You know, a lot of people talk about hate as being a negative emotion. I think all the great rivalries in football, the Raiders and the Chiefs, the Cowboys and the Redskins throughout the years, they hated each other. And you know what?
Let's hate the Rams.
It made for some great and compelling games, and I think these teams really don't like each other. Just my slant on it. Well, as Aaron Brooks matures as a quarterback, Joe Horn's numbers are going through the roof. The Saints receiver cracked another barrier Sunday in the Georgia Dome.
This first quarter catch by Joe Horn was big for a couple of reasons. It set up Ricky Williams' touchdown on the next play, and it pushed Horn over the 1,000-yard mark for the season. And Horn's day was just getting started. 7 catches, 138 yards, and the big fourth quarter touchdown. Horn is getting the ball a lot lately. In the past 7 games, he has 51 catches for 826 yards. He's now second in the NFL in receiving yards, making a strong case to get back to the Pro Bowl. He's now the second Saint to go over 1,000 yards receiving twice. Eric Martin did it 3 times in his career.
The Rams are red hot and heading to the Dome. We'll look ahead to Monday Night Mania next on Inside Saints. The battle for first place in the division was never a contest. The Rams took control with a dominating performance, as we see inside the West. The Rams put it to the 49ers from the opening snap. Marshall Faulk sweeps it in for a quick 7-0 lead. Still in the first, Kurt Warner hits Ricky Prohl for the score. The Rams rolled easily.
If that's a battle for first place, they've proved today that we're the first place team and we're the second place team right now. And heck, this road to the Super Bowl may very well go through St. Louis.
The Rams definitely looked Super Bowl ready Sunday. The final 27-14. The Carolina Panthers built a 24-6 lead in Buffalo and still found a way to lose. The Bills went ahead on this Travis Henry touchdown. Buffalo wins 25-24. The Rams sweep the 49ers and now control the West. San Francisco and the Saints are still alive for wild card spots, then the Falcons and the Panthers. The division leaders, the Rams, Packers, and Eagles. The wild cards, Chicago first because the Bears beat the 49ers. The Bucs own the final wild card spot for now, but the Saints play Tampa Bay in 2 weeks.
Next up, one of the great rivalries in football, probably the best right now. The Saints and the Rams play for the 5th time in the past 2 years. The Saints are 3-1, but all 4 were decided by 7 points or less. The last one, wild. The Rams built a 24-6 lead before Joe Horn and the Saints stormed back. Tied at 31 in the final seconds. John Carney hits the 27-yarder to win it.
And I'm pretty sure everybody in New Orleans is waiting on that. Also the world, you know, it's a Monday night game, it's spotlight. And we just going to, these next 3 days, we're going to get rest. You know, we're just going to come out and we're going to go home and relax and get ready and focus on the Rams. And we're going to come out and play the way we played today. We know we don't have any room for mistakes. So we got to come out and play. Every week is a must-win week. So we got to face the Rams first.
All right, time now for our predictions, and I think I know where Harry's going. Harry?
I don't know, man.
Come on,
really
Harry.
worried.
Jim hasn't told you to pick the other team, so go ahead and pick the Rams, even though you mean the Saints.
Marshall Faulk always really plays. He's really good when it comes to the Superdome, so he's pretty dang good. But I think the Saints will get to Kurt Warner, although, yeah, I'll pick the Rams.
Saints?
I'm picking the Saints.
Okay, I knew you would, and I'm picking the Rams by a field goal.
We're in, Harry.
Everybody's good now, huh? For all of us here at ABC 26, thank you for watching Inside Saints.
Inside Saints, the official TV show of the New Orleans Saints, is an exclusive presentation of ABC 26 Sports.
It's open mic night on 4th down.
They're the team to beat in the NFL, the Rams.
They're fighting for a playoff spot. We want to clinch a spot, so it's going to be a little trash talk.
So listen up. 4th down starts now.
Like, this is the only game they live for some reason, and then all the rest of the games they lay eggs.
We won 3 out of the last 4. So Anna Kakudachu or whatever his name is, I don't even remember who the guy's name is.
It's time for them to shut these guys up and let them concentrate on something else. Let the Saints concentrate on something else.
Why is it not a rivalry then for you?
Because we won 3 of the last 4. Rivalry is when you win one, they win one. You win one, they win one.
Guys like Joe Horn are just like, guys like Warren Sapp. I mean, a lot of talk.
Who's this Anna Nukagu dude? He starts?
Has he been in any Pro Bowls? I don't even know. I mean, he was in the Canadian League, I believe, right?
Trash talking like that has become the norm when these two teams meet. The Saints and Rams will take their talking to the field in less than 24 hours. Hello, everyone, and welcome to 4th Down and 4. I'm Lee Zurich. The Saints and the Rams have met 4 times the past 2 years, each meeting decided by a touchdown or less. The styles of both teams different. The Saints physical, the Rams have been called a finesse ball club. Tomorrow night, the entire country will be watching a matchup that's become one of the NFL's best. It's been a while since Saints fans have seen their team on Monday Night Football, all the way back in 1994, a 24-16 loss to Dallas in December of that year. The 7-year absence is over tomorrow night. The Saints and Rams in prime time in the NFL spotlight.
I can't deny it's an exciting feeling, even though my emotions don't show it right now. It's going to be a big-time game. I think the coaches are really looking forward to it. We as players, we're really looking forward to it, but we're not really concerned about that as a Monday night game, if that makes any sense. We just concerned about, we're just thinking it's another game we have to win.
We coming back at you. I told you, baby. I told you, don't give up on the Saints.
The Saints and Rams have had 4 memorable games the past 2 years. There's been trash talking, wild finishes. It's definitely brewed into one of the NFL's top rivalries. One reason, these two teams just don't like each other.
I don't like nobody I play against in the National Football League. I mean, that's just the business. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win football games.
I think we don't pretty much like each other, but we probably do respect each other. We have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends on the Rams, and I'm sure the Rams have a lot of friends on the Saints, but for the most part, we don't like each other, but we respect each other, and that's the most important thing. Beating the Rams definitely begins with finding a way to slow down the offense. The Saints have found a way to create turnovers against the Rams. Much has been made of the Saints' physical play against the St. Louis receivers, but maybe that's been exaggerated a little bit. Sometimes you make too much of a big deal about being physical with their receivers. Their receivers are, they're excellent, so you can't just come out and be physical with them. You have to make plays, and that's the bottom line. Whether it be physical or whether it be through being physical or through getting interceptions, you have to make plays against the Rams. And if you make the statement to be physical, there's been teams that's been physical with them, but they've been physically ran out of the stadium too.
the key could come down to controlling Marshall Faulk. The Rams' only victory over the Saints the past 2 years came in last year's regular season finale. Faulk rushed for 220 yards and 2 scores.
Number one thing is you got to stop the run. And if you stop the run, then you have a chance to get to them. But we got to stop the run before anything.
The Rams, regarded as the NFC's best team this year, their improvement from last season can be attributed to changes on defense. The unit's ranked #1 in the NFC now. 2 additions definitely helping out. New Orleans native Aeneas Williams and former Saint linebacker Mark Fields are 2 new starters in the Rams defense.
Of course, I'd be stupid to say they weren't better than they were last year. But the addition of Aeneas Williams and Mark Fields definitely helped that team. You know, I like Mark. I like Aeneas. They're hell of a players. But I still don't think that's their key, and that's the core of their team. The core of their team is what I said 5 minutes ago. Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. That's the Rams.
It should be a fun one tomorrow night. It's 10-2 St. Louis in town to take on the Saints. Jim Haslett's team 7-5 in the driver's seat for the last wild card spot. Kickoff 8 o'clock in a sold-out Superdome. The Rams come in with the #1 offense and defense in the NFC. Now, St. Louis flew into town just a few hours ago. When they arrived at the team hotel, we had a chance to catch up with their starting quarterback, Kurt Warner. Kurt, I guess when you talk about the Saints, you have to start with their defense. They've had success against you, causing turnovers. They lead the league in sacks. Obviously, a difficult task y'all have going against them.
Always a difficult task. You know, we've been able to have some success against them in regards to yardage and putting up some points. But like you said, you know, their big key is creating turnovers, and they're very opportunistic. They're a team that you know, it seems like every time we make a mistake, they're right there to capitalize on it. And obviously, that's going to be a huge key for us. Is, you know, to be efficient, to still move the football and take chances, be aggressive, but not make those crucial mistakes that either set up their offense for scores or take us away from points.
Do you see them doing different things than maybe other teams have been doing against you defensively?
Not really. I mean, you know, they do what they do, and they're very good at it. They know that they can rush 4 guys and get a lot of pressure on you, create sacks. So they really don't have to do anything different. They're very good at what they do. You know, they don't have to depend on blitzing a lot against some teams or what have you. You know, they got the front 4. They allow those other guys to roam back there and make plays. And I don't expect to see a whole lot different. I expect them to do what they've done all year long, what's really created a lot of success for them. And, you know, we're just going to have to beat it and not make those mistakes.
What's your mindset as a quarterback going into this game? Because you know you're going to get hit, you know you're going to get pressured, and you have to stay in there. And you've already been knocked out of 1 game against the Saints in your career.
Yeah, I don't think about that. Yeah, it's part of the game. And my job is to go in there and make the plays that I'm capable of making. And you always get hit. You know, you're always knocked down. You always got to get back up. But that's the business. That's my job. And so, you know, I don't really think about it any extra when we're playing a team like this that does create a lot of sacks and cause a lot of havoc. I just have to go in and play. And if I'm getting hit when I'm throwing it, I'm getting hit. And I step up and make a play and then, you know, get back up. So, yeah, I don't really, you know, my mindset doesn't change when I'm playing against teams that have a really good pass rush. It stays the same, and I try to accomplish the same thing.
Marshall Faulk did not play in the first meeting this year. He's definitely a difference maker. In the 1 game you beat them the past 2 years, he had 220 yards rushing.
Right, yeah. No, he is definitely a difference maker. He's a guy that you really have to be aware of when he's on the football field. And, you know, last time we played him, obviously he wasn't on the field. They didn't have to key on him, so they were able to open some things up with some other guys. But he's a huge key for us. You know, he always has been, always will be. He's so talented and so versatile that he's going to definitely give us a boost in this game. And, you know, always plays well coming back home here to New Orleans. So hopefully they'll have a big game for us.
Just one more thing. Some of the Saints players have said it's not a rivalry between the Rams and Saints. Some say it is. What do you think?
I think it is. I mean, you know, there's been a lot of great games, you know, and, you know, there's been a lot of talking going on. And yeah, I think it's fun when we get together and play. You know, we played so many times over the last 2 years that, you know, I don't know why you wouldn't consider it a rivalry. It's, you know, one of those games that everybody looks forward to on both sides of the ball, that you have fun playing in these kinds of games, that you look forward to the matchups that we create. And so, to me, that's what a rivalry is all about.
All right, time for us to take a break. Coming up next in 4th Down, we'll visit with another St. Louis Rams. Saints fans, you remember this guy. Hear linebacker Mark Fields' thoughts on tomorrow night's game. Plus, One thing that adds even more drama to this Saints-Rams rivalry, all the local connections. New Orleans natives Marshall Faulk and Aeneas Williams are two of the Rams' best players. Special teams coach Bobby April is from Chalmette and coached for the Saints during those Mike Ditka years. And one of the Rams' starting linebackers played here in New Orleans for 6 years. Mark Fields signed with St. Louis in the offseason. Earlier tonight, he sat down with us to talk about tomorrow night's ballgame. Mark, I know before the last game you talked with some of your former Saints teammates. Have you had any communication this week about the game?
No, not this week. You know, it's down here. We're down here really to try to clinch a spot right now and set ourselves up for a Super Bowl run. So I haven't had too much conversation this time around.
There's been some trash talking. Joe Horn said some things. Some of your teammates have said some things. I know you were upset about some of the things said.
But you know, that's just Joe Horn. He's that type of player. You know, that's what he is doing right now to get motivated. That's fine. You know, he's going to say what he wants to say. But I think Chidi had a little something to say, you know, back towards Joe. But you know, it's all in good and fun. I think, you know, when you have two rival teams like this, the tension is going to be high. They're fighting for a playoff spot. We want to clinch a spot. So it's going to be a little trash talking.
You've been on both sides of this. You've won with both, or you haven't won with the Rams, but you won with the Saints. Saints have won 3 of the last 4 meetings. Right. What's been the secret for the Saints? Why haven't the Rams been able to figure out how to beat them consistently?
Right. You know what? I think when I was playing with the Saints, it's just we had that attitude, you know, like this team can't beat us. And, you know, what happened in the first game, you know, we had a lot of turnovers that preceded for us, that helped us lose that game. So, you know, hopefully we're coming in here trying to correct all those mistakes, and hopefully we learn from our lesson.
Number one, when you face the Saints offense, is it Ricky Williams you have to shut down before anything?
Pretty much. You have to focus in on Ricky. I mean, he's their key to pretty much the offense, and they have other players that you have to, you know, defend, but he is the key.
Finally, is it going to be different for you tomorrow, your first return trip to the place where you started and played your entire pro career?
Right. You know, it's home sweet home. You know, I still have a home here. I'm keeping it probably until after the Super Bowl and whatnot, but it's home sweet home, so I'm just here right now to get a win.
The Rams have all but locked up a playoff spot. The Saints still battling probably for a wild card berth. Here's how things look in the NFC. Remember, 3 wild card teams make it to the postseason. San Francisco and Green Bay lead the way. Right now, the Saints would make the postseason with Tampa Bay, New York, Washington, and Atlanta left out. Later on 4th down, we'll look back at the prep football season, but up next, a different look at the Tulane.
Join the New Orleans Saints.
I'm going home to watch Inside Saints.
Inside Saints, tonight at 7, only on ABC 26.
Want to win a $500?
From WGNO New Orleans, ABC 26 Sports, this is Inside Saints.
Bad blood brewing. 7 weeks ago, the Rams jumped out to a 24-6 halftime lead with a wide receiver pass and a tight end reverse. Saints felt not real football.
To get flea flicker, bull crap plays, I mean, if that's how they're going to play, we just go out and keep playing our game. We'll win this game in 60 minutes. And that's what we did.
The second half, all Saints. John Carney kicked his 5th field goal in the final seconds to win it and save the Saints season.
In 1 hour, the Rams go for revenge. Next, Jim Haslett tells why he owns the Rams and how he plans to make it 4 wins in 5 games against St. Louis. We're one-on-one with the Saints coach. Plus,
there is a mano-a-mano thing going on out there that I'm not privy to because I've been weak my whole life. So
sit back and enjoy Miller Time. How Jeff Blake is helping the Saints without playing. And Falk Talk. Marshall chimes in on all the chatter. Yes, indeed, the Superdome is heating up. And this is Inside Saints.
The official TV show of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Ed Daniels, Kim Davis, and Harry McCullough.
And hello, I'm Kim Davis alongside Ed Daniels. Welcome to the special 1-hour edition of Inside Saints as we wait for the kickoff of Monday Night Football back in New Orleans for the first time in 7 years. We'll check in with Harry McCullough inside the Dome in a minute, but first, the Monday night matchup.
Kim, it's a matchup that the Saints and Rams have had circled on their calendar all season long. And after what happened in October 28th in St. Louis, the Rams have had this matchup circled in red as they lost to the Saints 34-31. New Orleans loves to talk about voodoo to explain mostly 34 years of hard luck Saints football. But isn't it great to have the hex on a team as good as the Rams.
In the December 30th playoff game, Aaron Brooks' 4 touchdown passes were played over and over on local and national sports shows. Belief? The Saints ran up and down the field on the Rams' defense. Fact? The Saints had only 301 total yards in the game. In the Saints' 3 wins the past 2 seasons, the Rams have turned the ball over 17 times. That's why they've lost, and the Saints have won. Belief? The Saints are a power football team. The Rams, finesse. But Saints safety Sammy Knight, definitely not a finesse player, says the Rams are not a finesse football team.
Nah, not really. Just because I think that the Rams are a power team. I mean, they came down here and they rushed for 200 yards on us last year, and I don't think that was finesse at all. So, you know, I mean, there's certain facets of the game maybe finesse, you know what I mean? But they could be a power team as easily as they can finesse. So, you know, I mean, anytime you have a running game like they have, I don't think they're a finesse team.
There are a few things that are not misconceptions, and that is the genuine dislike between the 2 teams and perhaps the 2 coaches. Although this week Jim Haslett has been especially cautious about what he said about the Rams. And when he did say something, he was extremely gracious. Haslett had snide remarks about the Rams' trick plays after the first meeting. When asked about that this week, those plays were now exciting.
I think fans would rather see that than see the option. I mean, to me, when I watch college football, sometimes I watch teams run the option. I mean, it's great to go to sleep, you know, on Saturday afternoon. I mean, fans like stuff like that. They like kickoff returns. They, you know, they like plays like that.
Some things haven't changed. The Saints are still the underdogs. Most of the national media is again picking the Rams. And the Rams may win. In Haslett's words, quote, they are a great football team. Belief? The Saints have been lucky against the Rams. Fact, in 3 of the last 4 meetings, the Saints have simply played better football.
You know, Kim, and I think that's one of the things that the Rams have failed to admit here over the 4-game stretch where the Saints have won 3, is that for the most part the Saints have been the better team. I think the Rams feel that they've given a game away, and I think that lack of respect really motivates the New Orleans Saints.
I think you're right about that. The Rams have been thought to be the best team in football the last couple of years, but when they play the Saints, on those days, the Saints play better football, they create turnovers, and their defense gets it done. So on those days, if no other time of the year, they have been the better football team.
And too bad the Saints can't play 16 games then against the Rams then, right, Harry?
Yeah, no doubt about that. Beware the home dog on Monday night. All the bettors know that saying, no doubt about that. These guys are underdogs, but you know what? Jim Haslett didn't push his team this week. He knew he didn't have to get them up this week. In fact, he gave them an extra day off to get ready for this. He had to hold them back more than anything. So we're expecting a big game here before a big crowd here tonight.
All right, Harry. Thanks a lot, Harry. Well, the 4th member of our team joins us now. Don Ocean will check in with fans throughout the show. Don?
Kim, kickoff is still about an hour away, but this party here started almost 4 hours ago. Sal, what are you doing here tonight? What are you serving up?
What are we serving up? We got food, we got beer, we got a lot of Saints fans here. We're ready to kick the Rams behind. The final score is going to be 31-17 Saints. What's that?
What gives you that kind of confidence in your Saints tonight?
Because we're playing the Rams. Mike Martz is the coach of the Rams. That's why we're going to win tonight, because he's a loser. We own the Rams. We own the Rams. We own the Rams.
They're getting crazy.
All right, thanks, Don. We'll check back in with Don later in the show, but for now, let's go inside the dome to Harry McCullough.
Oh, yeah, it's wild. It's wild outside. It's getting wild inside here as well. You know, this is a rivalry that goes back a long way. In fact, my first jersey that I ever got from Security Sporting Goods, number 18, Roman Gabriel, the Rams. But then in 1967, traded that in for the Jimmy Taylor, number 31. But next year, the rivalry ends. The Saints and the Rams will play in different divisions. And there were 4 games that helped define this franchise that came against the Rams. Throughout the show, we'll take a look back at some of those classics between the Saints and the Rams, beginning with the first game in franchise history. September 17th, 1967. More than 80,000 fans joined the party at Tulane Stadium. The Saints and the Los Angeles Rams. The opening kickoff came to a rookie second-round draft pick. John Gilliam took the ball at his own 6 and exploded through the middle. A 94-yard touchdown on the first play in Saints history. NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle called it the most dramatic start to a franchise ever. After that, though, the Saints offense was limited to a pair of Charlie Durkee field goals. Rams Hall of Famer Deacon Jones, number 75, ate Billy Kilmer and the Saints alive. Rams quarterback Roman Gabriel scrambled into the end zone to put Los Angeles ahead to stay, and the Rams won it 27-13. The man who put this team together joins us live. We'll go one-on-one with Randy Mueller next.
Plus, the coach's comments after the last Saints win ruffled some feathers in St. Louis. Jim Haslett talks about how bad blood might play a role tonight, and
I'm like the mama of the team, so.
She's danced in more games than anyone in Saints history. We'll meet Stacey Rumney, plus a lot more ahead on Inside Saints.
I grew up a little scrawny surfer kid out in California and just decided that I'm going to play football and give it a shot.
Kyle Turley gave up part of his Saturday to tell kids how he made it. He praised the kids for giving up their weekend to work out. He told kids he weighed 180 pounds his senior season in high school. But through hard work and dedication in the weight room, he made it in the NFL. The kids listened, but what they wanted to hear was his take on the now famous helmet throw.
When you're in an atmosphere like that where you have a family, you're going to do whatever it takes to support those people, and you're going to do whatever it takes to protect those people. And that's my view on it. And that's a view on, and that's what's got me to where I am today, and I'm not going to stop being that way. Did I go too far in the helmet throw? Of course, you know.
Kyle Turley reaching out to kids. That's a look inside the heart of the New Orleans Saints.
We are live on the floor of the Superdome, the place to be. I saw Tim McCarver walking by, Melissa Starks here, Archie Manning's here, and we also have the general manager of the New Orleans Saints, Randy Mueller. Thanks for joining us, Randy. What about the atmosphere tonight? They'll be standing up in the terrace.
It's pretty wild already, Harry, and we got another hour to go. So I think it's a great opportunity for the fans in Seattle to see what big-time football is all about and kind of showcase their city and their team and see how it goes.
And the people in Seattle will be watching, but you mean New Orleans, right?
I'm sorry, did I say Seattle? Oh, man, I'm messed up. I mean New Orleans, I'm sorry.
Wow, no problem. Hey, the atmosphere tonight. Yesterday, we saw some real ugly things going on in Cleveland. Did y'all take any extra precautions tonight?
We talked about some things in the office today, but at this stage, it's hard to do much extra. We've got the same kind of beer bottles, the same kind of other things, so hopefully our fans will show a little caution and understand what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and hopefully the officials won't screw it up. This has been one heck of a year, though, hasn't it? I mean, just from the beginning to the end, it seems like every week the Saints play, you have a crazy call.
No question, it's been goofy. Every week we've had something that I keep saying, I've never seen that before, so let's hope it doesn't happen tonight.
Something breaking now, Albert Kahn, we'll have to ask you about that. What's his status? And I guess he's done for the rest of the year.
Well, we suspended Albert today for the regular season, the remaining 4 games, and we fined him 1 game check. So, you know, we're going to try to keep that stuff internal. I feel bad that it had to come to this, but at this stage, we got to do what's best for us.
Yeah, and there's some crazy stories floating around, but I guess y'all just going to keep it to yourself right now?
Yeah, we really can't say anything about it, and there's a process that has to take place, and this is the first step in that. So hopefully everybody can get their own issues cleared up in it.
Personnel matters, that might be one that didn't work out for you, but one that did work out for you. Aaron Brooks, only behind Kurt Warner after 17 games as a starter, yardage over 4,000 yards, only behind Kurt. What does he mean? What does his development mean to this franchise?
Well, he's been outstanding, Harry. An exciting thing to me is he's just scratching the iceberg right now. He's going to be a great player for a long time, and if we can continue to develop him, he'll continue to work like he has. He's going to be one of the better players in the league.
Yeah, he seems like he has a Rams number anyway, and I guess now, as a general manager, you got to start thinking signing this guy. He's got another year left, but I guess you got to start thinking that way.
Well, I know this. We'll find a way to keep all the good players, and he's obviously one of them. He'll be at the top of the list, and you're right, he does have 1 more year under contract, but you know, probably at some point during the offseason, we'll sit down and talk about it.
Let's talk a little bit about tonight's game. What about this matchup? And it's become such a good rivalry.
It has. It's kind of overnight, you know, the last 2 years, and it makes it fun. It's atmospheres like this that make it fun. We've had some great games with these guys, and to be honest, it's one of those where neither team really likes each other, and it's kind of opposite ends of the spectrum totally. Just completely different teams, and that's what's made it fun.
Yeah, but I guess you got to respect them, and I know how your coach is, I know how their coach is, but it's fun to get those two together and make them play for a little while.
No question. We have a lot of respect for the Rams. They've won a Super Bowl. We're just trying to get where they're going, so, you know, or have been, I should say, but it makes for a great day whenever we play, whether it's here or there, and our guys really get cranked up for it.
Randy, well, thank you so much for joining us. Sure, appreciate it. And you see how the atmosphere is going to be tonight? Wait till the Superdome if the Saints are in it.
I hope so.
Super Bowl. We're all talking. Anyway, Ed, we're waiting for that big Super Bowl, but we'll take care of this one tonight.
All right, Harry, always the picture of optimism. When Stacy Chen started dancing for the Saints, Jim Finks was the general manager. 2 general managers, 4 head coaches, and a new last name later, Stacy is still dancing.
If you would have asked me 11 years ago if I would have still been here, I would have said absolutely not.
I remember Stacy at a high school dance team competition.
She asked me to try out.
What a precious girl.
You know, I auditioned, I made the team.
And lo and behold, here she is.
You know, I was the youngest on the team. Then as the years progressed, the girls kept getting younger, but I guess it's just me getting older. Longest tenured member, the oldest, and I'm married. Very different from when I first started.
Stacy is such a great representation of what a true Saint Nation is.
I'm gonna hang the pom-poms up this year. You say that every year. And, you know, I'm gonna start a family soon, so. Bye, see you later.
What does Jim Haslett really think about Rams coach Mike Martz? Harry goes one-on-one to find out next. And later.
Hollywood is not 1/10 as vicious as sports broadcasting.
Learning the hard way, Dennis Miller talks about breaking into sports and a lot more ahead on Inside Saints.